Hello everyone, this is Candy the 614 Stitcher, and today is Saturday, July the 8th, 2023, and this is my Flosstube episode number 87. I would like to say hello and welcome to all of my new subscribers. I've had a slight increase in subscriptions, and so if someone has shouted me out or talked about me on their video, please let me know so that I can thank them properly. I thank you as a new subscriber for checking me out, and hopefully I can enable you with a project or two. And for my returning friends and subscribers, thank you so very much for coming back each and every time that I do upload a video. I really do appreciate you all. This week in my comments, we're going to jump right into comments. Actually, I'm not going to jump right in the comments. I want to say I had a great week of stitching this week. And as it turned out, when I got off on Friday, June the 30th, I was off the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th, which led to great stitching progress. I had a phenomenal weekend of stitching. I really did not do too much of anything. I stayed with Albert. Well, I went to Keepsakes on the 1st. And then, I was home because I did my Flosstube. And then I stayed with Albert and stayed in the house most of those days. Monday and Tuesday. Well, all week really. But because they were letting off fireworks all times of the day and the night. And he was very anxious about that, and so I stayed home with him. But that led to me being able to have some great stitching time. In my comments last week, I want to thank Shelia. She gave me some advice about removing the nail polish off of my nails. And it was to buff the top coat off, and then the nail polish remover would work. Thank you so very much, Shelia. I really do appreciate it. I did exactly what you said, and it did come right off. I don't know what is in that top coat that would make it impenetrable to regular acetone nail polish remover, but it wasn't coming off. So thank you so much for your help with that. This week I will be showing WIPS, and more WIPS. I again had a prolific week of stitching, and I worked on a lot of WIPS this week. No starts and no finishes. I do have a lot of WIPS to show, so we're going to just jump right in. I'll be filming another video after this, and so I want to make sure that I leave plenty enough time. Plus, we are in the midst of a thunderstorm here in Ohio, so if you happen to hear thunder and lightning, that's what's going on. Everything is okay in my house, but we sometimes have a tendency to lose electric when storms like this come through, so I want to just make sure that I can get this video recorded before that happens. Okay, let's start off with my first WIP for this week. And it is, these are in no particular order, but they just in the order in which I wrote them down. So my first WIP this week is Purple Rain, which is a Heaven and Earth design mini. That's the information for it. And here's a picture of where it was when I last showed it. And here is where it is now. So I used Purple Rain. Oh, don't put it over there. Pick it over there. I used Purple Rain to travel to Granny's Sewing Room in Princeton, West Virginia. Then it was used again for bulk stitching for DMC, which I needed 50 stitches for, and finishing supplies, which I needed 200 stitches for, I think. 250 stitches. So that right there was 300 stitches that I used it for. Well, no. I used it for traveling to Granny's Sewing Room in Princeton, West Virginia. I stitched 205 stitches. Then I used it for bulk stitching for the DMC and the finishing kit, and that was another 300 stitches. I'm also stitching this project for Full Coverage Fanatics Tour de France, and as of today, I have put in 505 stitches. This project is also, I mean, talk about dipping. This project is dipping, for a total of 4 prompts. I'm also, this is also Carolyn Zook's piece that she chose for WIPGO for me. The WIPGO number is 21, and on my board it says Carolyn's Choice, and so she chose Purple Rain. So I used it for WIPGO. I'm using it for WIPGO. I used it for Granny Sewing Room, 2 more sewing or DMC and a finishing pack in the shops that I'm going to, and in the Tour de France. So I'm using this project. I have used this project 5 times this week in order to meet my prompts. I am super elated about it. When I last showed it, I believe I was like over in here, and I have managed to get to one of the page breaks for it. And that is where I am right now. This project is being stitched on an 18 count hand-dyed Ada by EJ. And it is being stitched with the called for anchor flosses that were gifted to me by Miss Joy Lisa. And I am so happy with it. Doing this, working on this now the way that I am with one thread over one has brought me so much joy that it's a shame that I waited so long to make that change, but now that I have, I am ecstatic. I actually believe that I might be further along on this right now than I was in the whole time, pardon me, the whole time that I had worked on it last year. So that is Purple Rain by Heaven and Earth Designs. Okay. My next piece that I worked on was Temperature Butterflies, and I am working on the July, August, and September butterflies. And here's a picture of where it was when I last showed it. And here is where it is now. So as you can see, I have finished the August butterfly outline, and I have put in the body of the September butterfly. On this project, I stitched travel stitches to Fabric and Gift Shop in Clay, West Virginia. I used it for travel in two places. Fabric and Gift Shop in Clay, West Virginia, and then the Quilt Shop LLC in Somerville, West Virginia. I then used it also to purchase a sampler pattern, which was 200 stitches, and or no, a sampler pattern is 100 stitches, and I have stitched a total of 259 stitches on this so far. When I pick this up again, because it will not be traveling with me, I will be doing the outline of the September butterfly. Then I'm going to also come back in and start doing the veining for all 3 of the months, so that I can, by August, I can start putting the colors in for the months. This is Stitchin Mommy. This is by Stitchin Mommy. I'm not for sure that I said that. I am stitching this on a 28 count Lugana by Be Stitch Me named Artemis, and I am using $37.99 for the outlining and veining of the butterflies, but for the colors I am using a conversion of it just flew right out of my head. Sulky threads that I came up with the conversion for. I am loving this piece also. It is on my year of WIPS, so I am continually working on it to make sure that I get it completed before December the 18th. Year of WIPS is a group that is closed now. It is ran by Melanie Watkins, Soulful Stitcher. Okay. And it seems like there was something else, but it's not. I wrote very detailed notes because I had so much travel this week with my pieces. So if it's I know it seems like that I'm reading a lot, and I am, because there's a lot of information with my WIPs this week. So my next piece is Twisted Band Sampler. And I want to thank you all so very much for all of your advice on leaving the butterfly, the 2 butterflies in. I'm going to do just that. From a distance, you can't even tell that it's stitched that way. This is by Northern Expressions Needleworks. And this is a picture of what it will look like when it is completed. And here's a picture of where I was the last time I shared it with you. So I do have a hanging thread. I have, let me tell you. So Twisted Band Sampler is my WIPGO number 9, which was Miss Shelia's choice. And she chose Twisted Band Sampler, which really surprised me. I thought she would have picked one of my other WIPs that I'll show in a minute, but it was a pleasant surprise. So I used this to travel to Village Sampler because we needed to use a sampler in order to reduce the number of stitches. If I hadn't used this, I would have had to stitch 600 stitches. But because I used a sampler, it cut the total number of travel stitches down from 600 to 300. So that's what I did. And those 300 stitches are the start of this band right here. And when I got down here, I reached 300 stitches, so I stopped. And that's why the hanging thread. These 2 colors are very similar. Oh, you can see it a little better now. It's an orange, but it is a darker orange. This color is more of a rust And so that is where I put my stitches in at. So for this, I stitched 302 stitches on. That is Twisted Band Sampler, and I am stitching it on an 18 count white Aida, and I am using the called for DMC threads on it. So my next WIP, you haven't seen this year yet, and it is, I'm telling you, when I say I was a stitching maniac, I was a stitching maniac this weekend. It felt good. Like, I'm going to show you my calendar for the week when I get done, and you'll see. Like, some of these projects I stitched three projects in one day. I would pick up one, put in the stitches I needed, and then put it down and pick up another one. Like, I was just like moving along. It was great to have 2 days or 4 days off from work consecutively so that I could get some good stitching in. So my next WIP for this week, and I'm sorry, WIP means works in progress. Sometimes I get carried away and don't explain the acronyms because there are a lot of them. And this is Summer Quakers by Rosewood Manor, and I am working in this section here. And here's a picture of where it was when I last showed it, which was last year. And here is where I have gotten to now. I have put in the second bird and flower part over on the over here, and now I'm working on this circular motif here, and I brought down the flower part. The reasoning for the flower, so I am off in this motif here, and I actually know what it is. When I put the flowers in up here, I put them one square, one stitch too high. So in order to make sure that I didn't keep getting off, I came down, because this all is the part that has the one stitch off. This all was stitched before and it's correct. So I counted off of this flower over to this flower to count up to this motif, if all of that made sense. Because I didn't want to, I was talking to EJ when I realized my mistake, and I didn't want to keep, like, I didn't want to have to keep remembering that I was off by 2 on this motif to do this motif. Now I did note my chart so that I would remember, but then once I was looking at it, it was easy for me to just recognize to come over here, put in this little flower, and then go up. And that's what I did. I am stitching this on a 28 count Palomino by Atomic Ranch, and I'm using the called for Valdani threads on this, and I am using the 3 threads as they come off the ball. This needle minder is from Bev McCullough. It's her business name is Flamingo Toes, and I thought it matched with the, you know, with what was going on in this chart with the flowers all around. So that's where I am now. I used Summer Quakers to purchase a full coverage kit at the quilt shop, and I put in a total of 231 stitches on this project. So that is Summer Quakers. I'm going to move this down. Okay. So my next WIP is the week of the WIPs, I'm going to tell you. Is Half the Fun by Ink Circles. And you know what, this I am using for a prompt in the magazine monthly group for Hippo. It is my eye. And I'm going to back up just a second. Purple Rain is also being used. So not only, I mean, that was 5 when I told you the first time. So now I'm up to 6 different things that I'm using Purple Rain for. Purple Rain is also being used for both the P's in Hippo. So here is Ink Circles, Half the Fun. And here's a picture of where it was when I last showed it. And here's where I am now with it. So I have put in a total of, oh, that's not right. Oh, there we go. So Half the Fun has not been used yet in the road trip, but I put in last night, or since you last saw it, I've added this bus here, this rocket ship, and this, it seems like I should know what this is. It's the ski lift. And these little X's and this circle here. So this is the ski lift. I have added, for this project, I put in 271 stitches. My goal for this month on this piece is 300 stitches, so I have 29 more stitches to go for this month. When I pick this up again for those stitches, I will be coming back over to this side and working down a little. So from here over to here. And I think that will actually give me, so what I'll be putting in, what I'll be putting in is I'll be starting with a cruise ship right here. So I'll be putting in a cruise ship, and another railroad train. Another train will be coming off of this side over here. So I'm almost down to where the 4 hot air balloons are. This is what I worked on this week. And when I pick it up again, I'll be coming back over to this side and I'll be working on this cruise ship. And then as you can see, there's another railroad train right there. So I'll be putting that in. And then I will almost be ready to start putting in the 4 hot air balloons. This is being stitched on a 16 count Fortnite fabric. I do not have what the name of it is, and I am using these wonderful, before they changed their name, they used to be Leo and Roxy threads, and that is, oh my goodness, look at that. So they are the deepest purple with hints of gray all through them. And on my piece, when I was looking at it this week, you can actually see. Now you have to, you won't see it on the camera, but you can actually see pieces of gray in the stitching when you look at it in person. It is so wonderful. I think next year, if Melanie does the year of WIPs again next year, I think this is going to be one of my year of WIP pieces so that I can put it in the fair. Okay, so that was half the fun, and I'm waiting. I have 271 stitches in limbo for that. I haven't applied it, and what that means is I have not applied it to the road trip yet. I'll have, so for instance, in a couple of travels, I'll be coming up to the Kentucky Derby horse races. And that calls for 300 stitches. So I only need to put those 30 stitches in to meet that 300. So when I get that in, will be the next time that you see the piece. So you'll know when I've made it to the Kentucky Derby. I gotta get me a fancy hat for the Derby. I've never been. I almost had an opportunity. I had an opportunity to go one time, and then something happened, and I wasn't able to go. But okay. So my next WIP is sorry for the delay. I putting these scroll rods over here. I'm always afraid that they're gonna fall off. My next WIP is also an ink circles piece, and it is Seasonal Sunshine. And here's a picture of where it was when I last showed it. And here is where it is now. So I worked on the completion of the box for the summer part, and you can see this little stop right here. For some reason, when I picked this up the last time I worked on it and put this in, I used the wrong color brown, so I didn't notice it. You know, I didn't notice it until I got all the way around here that it was a different shade of brown, and I'm like, what is this all about? So I'm going to remove, and I know you can't tell it in the camera that it's two different browns, but I noticed it right off once I started looking down there. So I'm going to take those stitches out. It's like 30 stitches, and I'm going to put it back in just so that the color stays consistent for me. You know, I got my fan blowing on me, but my fan was like pointed down. That's why all of a sudden it just started hitting me. So I'm going to remove these stitches right along here and then put them back in. For this piece, I stitched 61 stitches so far. I still need 125 stitches to meet my prompt, and my prompt is a stitch on a WIP that has a way to tell time, and of course the sun is a way of time telling. So that is what I'll be using. I will probably fix this tonight, you know, take it out, put it back in, and then finish my 125 stitches on it, because I still have a lot of border work in the purple to do, so the border comes all the way around. I saw someone else stitching this project, and I cannot think, I think it might have been Jan Hicks of Jan Hicks Creates. I love saying that. And she did something that now in retrospect I wish that I had a thought of, because it was brilliant. instead of stitching this in purple, even though purple is my favorite color, she stitched it in black as to mimic a wrought iron fence, and I was just like, oh my goodness, that was a great idea. So if I had it to do over again, I would stitch it in black, just like she did and had it wrought iron. She also did not use brown for the box outlines. She used black for that also. It is gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. But that's where I am. I'm working on the summer block, and this is also on my year of WIPS. So I'll be working to get this also completed. This is project number 5 on the year of WIPS. So there we go with that. Okay, I have to put them back where they those two at least where they go, because I don't want anything happening to them being on those scroll rods. So I'll be using that for stitching. The shop's name is Stitching Time, and it is in Louisville, Kentucky, and I need to add another 125 stitches to it to get it to finished for that prompt. Okay, so my last WIP for this week is Granny Squared by Lori Holt, and this was put out last year through the Fat Quarter Shop. And if you made just one granny square, it was 39 by 39, and if you put, or no, I'm sorry, it's 19 by 19 if you do just one granny square. If you do them all 4, it's 39 by 39. And here's a picture of where I was when I last worked on it. And here is where I am now. So when I picked this up, I needed to finish this light green that's in here, and I did that. I used this to I use this for Quilter's Trunk Sewing Center, which is also in Princeton, West Virginia. That don't seem right. The Quilters, no, it's in Liberty, Kentucky, sorry. So then once I put in this light green and finished it off, I went to the yellow, then I went to the blue, and then in this center will be red. I am stitching this on a 25 count, I think it's I got it right here. It's a 20 parchment. It's a 25 count Lori Holt fabric named Parchment, and I'm using the called for DMCs, and it's called Granny Square after they did a Granny Square crochet hooking, and so I had started this last year and just never finished it. So I'll be working on, anytime a granny something is called, I'll be, because it's the name of the pattern, that's why I chose it, because you had to stitch on something that is a you have to stitch on a WIP that has a quilt pattern. Well, these blocks could also be quilt patterns. They are quilt patterns because she made a quilt pattern after her granny square. Okay. Sometimes, you know, when you choose projects, it makes sense to you, but the admins of the group, they may or may not accept it. So, you know, you have to explain why you chose that particular pattern for that shop. So that was my granny squared. So for this week, I stitched a total of 1,791 stitches. I would say that is a great week. I mean, I hit the ground running on Saturday, and you know, I made my Flosstube on Sunday, but other than that, I was stitching. If I wasn't stitching, I was sleeping, which was not very much. Okay. So now, let me tell you, I have for the 505 stitches that I have stitched on Purple Rain, I've made it to I made the stage 3 and 4 of the Tour de France, and I only need like 20 stitches for leg number 7, or day 7, I'm sorry. So I'll be putting those in after I come back from my trip. I am not taking Purple Rain. Oh no, I take that back. I am taking Purple Rain with me, so I'll be getting these legs in while I'm gone. Okay? And then here is what my book looks like, my calendar looks like for this past week. Here we are today. Happy birthday, Becky Parker. Happy birthday. Here we are today, and you can see, like, on Monday I had 4 projects I worked on. On Tuesday I had 3 projects. Wednesday I had 1. Thursday I had 3. Yeah, 3. And then yesterday I had 3 also, or I had 2, because I also did some crocheting. And I didn't really bring that over, but I'll take a break and get it and bring it. I found a new, and I did not write it down, TY Yarn Company. Anyway, I'll look it up and put the information down in the description box. I found a YouTube video yarn, beginning yarn tutorial. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Say the word. Tutorial. It was very good. I am still in the practicing stages because my crocheting seems, I know the more I practice the better I'll get. So I know. But it seems like I'm either too loose or something. I don't know. I'm going to show it. I am going to take a break. When I take the break and come back, I'm going to have it to show it to you. So now, are you wondering what I am taking with me to Silver Needle for next week? I'm not sure. I know we will have evening stitching at the house. So I'm taking a number of projects so that I'll have a variety. I like to stitch on a variety of things during the week, if you couldn't tell that already. I may look at something and I may think, oh, I'm going to stitch on this, but then something else will be like, no, stitch on me first. And so I'll like, okay, I'm going to stitch on you first. So I just want to have enough of a variety so that I will be satisfied in my stitching for the week. So again, I will be Purple Rain right now as it stands is on a Q snap. So I'm going to take it Plus, I'll be taking my tablet, and it's on Pattern Keeper, so I'll be able to work on it even in the midst of talking with others. Or I get up pretty early in the mornings, so if I'm the first one up, I could actually work on this before anybody else gets up. So Purple Rain will be going, excuse me. And then I will be taking, this is October House, Love and Joy. This is my nod to getting in some Christmas in July stitching. And here is where I am with that. If I would just dedicate a little bit of time, I could probably get this finished. Once I'm thinking once maybe I get half the fun off my plate, maybe I'll move this into half the fun spot. Because I've had it for a couple of years now, and it needs to get finished. So that's October, October House Fiber Arts, and it is Love and Joy, so it'll be going with me. The next one is a smallish piece, but it is on my categories for the letter R, and it is what I named The Rose by Rosewood Manor, Karen Kluba. And I don't have very much started with on this. I take that back. I have the rose in, so I'll be working on this. That's the rose part of it. So really, all I really have is the leaves, these two little flowers, and this bow. I'm not going to do the alphabet, and I don't think now that I'm going to do that either. And maybe I could just use this as a stand-up during the summertime. So I need to talk to Miss Susan about that to see if it would make a good stand-up. But that's the rose. And then the last project that I am going to be taking with me, well, there's one more after this, but I'll also be taking Civil Samplers with me. And even though this is on a 36 count, it is stitching up wonderfully, so I'm going to take it also. Oh, dang, I meant to go to the library. Maybe they're still open. And I am working on the Caged Bird. And you just saw this recently. I have my own thread conversion, and I am stitching this on a 36 count, and here is where I am right now. There's one other project that I'm taking, and it is a new start. The ladies that I'm traveling with also will be bringing theirs, and we will be doing a start along at the retreat, and it is for Queen Bee. And I have decided to stitch Queen Bee 28 count over 1, and I will be using one of these two fabrics for her. I actually think I just decided which one I'm going to use. So this is the one that I'm actually thinking, and it's, you can't tell, but it is a beautiful blue with light spots in it. It has some white spots. You can see them on there, like little puffy clouds floating around. And I think that's the one I'm going to use. I had a 28 count pulled for her also, but I think I just like the way with the puffy clouds, she could be in the air, floating around, flying. So I think I'm going to go with, and it's called Clouds by Atomic Ranch. I just made that decision right here, right now. I think it is still dark enough that, yeah, because the white stitches on, I'll just have to be careful with the white stitches on her collar and on her sleeves, that I place it to where they will show up. But I will be starting that while I am away. So one other thing I would like to share, you all have been listening to me moan and groan and complain about all of the projects that I've had to do for going to Silver Needle. So I wanted to share those with you now that they are completed, and before they get fully finished. I wanted to make sure that I showed them to you. So the first one, this will become a needle book. And I actually have to put the S. I still need to put the S on the end of it. But this is going to be a needle book. And I'm going to press it before I go. Lightly, because I don't know. I'm sure that heat and a toile don't go very well together. So that's my needle. That'll be my needle book when I get finished with it at the retreat. The next piece is, you've seen this recently, is the spools and tape measure. And I can't remember what some of these are. This might be a box top or put into a box top. I'm not for sure. Okay. This is going to be a scissor fob. And you know what? It just dawned on me. I'm going to pull this thread and correct this. So I'm going to make this, I'm going to put satin stitches over the top of that so that actually will look like thread. So I'll do that tonight before I leave. Put that to the side. And then this I know is going to be a tart pan, one of those little tart pan ornaments. And I'm gifting this to one of my friends who likes penguins. I already know. From what I saw on the Facebook group, this will be mounted on top of a candlestick. Man, I love that little bird. I just love him. And I'm not going to tell you, I've seen what this is going to be, and it is spectacular. So I can't wait to show you when I get back home what this is going to be. But this is my stocking. And I'm so, now that I've seen what the finished project is, I was like, man, I'm glad I didn't decide to trash that thing, because it is wonderful. So there's my stocking. And then here's my flower in the urn. And I believe this is going to be a pincushion. So those are my 6 projects. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 projects that I will be fully finishing at the retreat. I'm super excited. We leave at 7 a.m. on Monday morning. We also will be making a stop at Color and Cotton, which has me totally excited. I've already started budgeting in my head how much money I'm going to be spending at coloring cotton. So I'm really looking forward to this retreat. I'm really looking forward to the time away. This morning, well, this afternoon, I was getting ready to do this video actually, and Albert, it was this morning, it was 10:30. Albert slept super late this morning, which is not like him. Usually, like, I get up at 5. If I get up at 4, I actually got up at 4:45. But usually about 45 minutes to an hour after I get up, he'll get up and have to go to the bathroom. Not this morning. And I was just like, okay, as long as he's sleeping, I'm going to get my stuff together. I was like, let me get my notes together. Let me do this. Let me do that. So he gets up at 10:30, and I was like, woo, you a sleepyhead today. I can't believe you slept this long. And, you know, he went over to the door, and I opened up the back door, and my daughter's car was gone. Now, my daughter is gone. She had her birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, baby. I don't know if you are going to watch this or not, but and this is not the kind of birthday gift you want, but somebody stole her car right out of my driveway. Thankfully enough, in the state, I don't know if it's in the state or in the city of Columbus, the police, because of all the auto thefts of her car brand, she has a Hyundai, a Hyundai, yeah. Anytime they see a Hyundai that has a broken out window or any kind of vehicle damage, they pull it over. They broke out the back windshield of my daughter's car right here in my driveway. Because, and I knew something had happened because there was not hardly any glass on the ground. So all the glass went inside the car by the way that they broke it. The thing that gets me is my bedroom is right there. Like, why did I not hear it? But it was determined that they broke the windshield, they broke the back window out, and it was sometime after 1 o'clock this morning. So, you know, not a very good birthday gift. She went out of town for her birthday on her first, well, she went to Jamaica earlier this year, but on her second trip, and then I had to call her and say, your car is gone. Thankfully enough, the police do have it. She'll be able to deal with it when she gets back from town, back in town. But it was just like a shock to my system. You know, I opened up the door expecting to see 2 cars, and then I only see my car, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they stole her car. Somebody stole her car. The reasoning that this is actually the second time her car has been stolen. It has been found out by these young kids that Kias and Hyundais can be started by using a USB plug. So they literally strip the ignition column and can put a USB in and start the car and drive off with it. People are crazy. So I don't know what the outcome will be when she gets back. I don't know if they caught the kid in the car, caught the kids in the car when they pulled the car over. I don't know any of that information, but if you could please send some good vibes and juju and prayers up for my little daughter. You know, you don't go away on your birthday thinking that you're going to have to deal with your car being stolen 3,000 miles away. Like, literally. She is on the other side of the country and has to deal with her car being stolen. And it's just terrible. But that is what our world has come to now, which is also terrible. Okay, I'm going to pause really quickly and get my crochet so I can show you where I'm at, and then we will be wrapping it up. Okay, so I'm back now. So here is my chain. Maybe I'll hold it back. And you see these little bumps down here. I'm like, what did I do that happens? And right there. And right there. I don't know if that is a tension. I still am struggling also with how I'm holding the yarn. She suggested, I'll put a link to her video down in my description box, because I do remember her name is TY. Her company name is TY something. And I should have wrote it down. But I'm still struggling with how to get the correct tension and hold my yarn. She suggested, you know, wrapping it twice. But if you wrap it twice, then you have more tension and you have a tendency to pull more. So I'm still working on that part of it. The chain, all in all, that's the back of the chain. It looks good, and in most places it looks like the tension is still good. Like, so I might not be a tight hooker anymore. I might be I always thought I was kind of a tight hooker, but it looks like I'm a loose one. But I just don't understand where I got these nubs from. So if any of you all do crochet, can you let me know about the nubs? And then if you have any suggestions on how to get because I'm having a problem with holding my finger out here, holding this down here, and still trying to hold up here. Like, that feels weird to me. So I did learn about holding my needle, so you can hold it like this or like this with the knife, as like a cutting a steak. So I do like the way that I changed the way that I'm holding the needle, and I'm now holding it like this. But if you could let me know what your thoughts are. This morning when I was practicing, because Melanie, I took over, look, I made crochet my 25/7. Because I figure if I practice 25/7, if I practice 25 minutes a day, then I'll get better at it. Like, but this morning I was like, I don't want to learn how to crochet no more. I just don't. It's too hard. And then I was like, I don't want to be a quitter neither. So I was whining about, you know, doing it and not being a quitter. So it's ridiculous. I don't even know why. I do know why, because like with the car trip that's about to come up, like it'll be easier for me to crochet than to cross stitch. Now, can I cross stitch in a car? Yes, I can. I've done it before. Do I like doing it? Because I gotta count. And one little bump and your count could be off. So I don't want to have to keep, you know, if I was stitching on Ada, okay. But I can't even stitch on my half the fun piece because it's on Ada. But man, who's going to do ink circles in the car riding around? Not me. I don't want to have to take all that out and put it back in again. So I'm going to stick with my crocheting. I want to thank you all so very much for always providing nice feedback for all of the endeavors that I seem to be getting into. I am so very thankful and pleased to call you my friends. This has been, Flosstube is more than what I had expected and all of what I need. Some days it takes me a while to get up to doing it. But then once I have done it and am in the midst of doing it, I'm so happy that I have done it. It is a little bit of work. It's a lot of work. But because of all of your kind comments and your kind remarks and reaching out and contacting me personally through Instagram messages. I am so thrilled that I continue to do Flosstube. I continue to stitch, that I'm getting involved in more and more group activities in through Flosstube and in stitching, and it has just made all the difference in the world for me. So with that, I would like for you all to have a very good week. I will be having a video next Saturday also, so stay tuned for that. And I will see you when I get back from Silver Needle. Bye, everyone.